Hello guys, thank you for clicking on the clickbait title. We are not going to actually implement a chess game in UTD. I just like to play quick chess games from time to time to take a break from coding. Or whenever Unity decides to take some time to do a simple task like saving. A good way to celebrate this victory is to implement the enemies attacking the player base feature in the game. How do you guys celebrate winning? Tell us by leaving a comment. So last time I was working on the enemies. I managed to get them all to work. Now we will give the enemies the ability to attack our home base. Let me write down the tasks that this might entail and get to work. As you can see, we have UTD on the Unity toolbar. This of course doesn't automatically come with Unity 3D. We created this tool as part of the game kit development that we have mentioned several times. This tool is currently helping us to develop the game, and in the future, after its release, will help the community in modding and customizing the game. Now let's use our custom ability editor window to create a new ability for our creeps. First we need to create an ability from our custom ability editor window. This is a single target ability, so we set the target type to single target. So far most of the abilities target enemies. This time around we want the ability to target the player. We set the target alignment to player, so this ability will only affect game objects that have the player alignment configuration. We also need to filter the layers to only target the player base. We will create this layer in a bit since we do not have it yet. We need to set the trigger for the ability. Creeps should attack when they are in range of the player base. So let us set the trigger to on range enter event. We also need to set the game actions. So for now I will add a stat modification game action that adds -10 to target's health stat, effectively lowering the player base health by 10. Let's save the ability and create the player base layer. Afterwards, we need to do a bit of a setup to allow the player base to be interactive with the rest of the environment. So far it was just a prop in the environment with limited functionality. We make the player base targetable and give it the player alignments. We make sure that the player config sets the player base initial health to 100. We give the enemy template configuration the enemy attack base ability we just created. To test things out, I move the player base to a close location, so that we do not wait for the enemies to reach the end of the map. I added a capsule collider so that creeps can target it. I also need to modify the enemy attack base ability to target the newly created player layer. Our creeps are still unable to target our player base. So this seems like a good time for another chess game. Now we can have our debug session. Currently our creep interacts with all the layers in the project, and this makes the debugging a bit tiresome. This also means that the game is doing a lot of unnecessary processing, so let's use this opportunity to do some optimization by modifying the layers interaction matrix in Unity. Or whatever it's called. This collision matrix is part of Unity's built-in physics engine, and tells Unity which layers collide with each other. So we uncheck all the layers that the enemy should not interact with, and keep the ones needed for our game, such as interacting with the towers and the player layers. We resume our debug session, find our bug and squash it. I don't want the video to be very long, so I will stop here. In the next video I will continue working on the player base feature. Stay tuned.